Hello again, this is Dr. Lewerenz, Longevity Health Institute, and I think as you know, we are two locations, Rochester Hills and Bingham Farms, and I'm bringing you a quick update on a few things just in 2022 in the new year here that are common things, but also stuff I just recently seen, and so it's fresh in my mind today and how it helps people. One is to help with weight loss. One is to kind of get over some of your maybe anxiety, PTSD, depressive stuff, what's going on in the world, in our certain climate and situation. And the other one is to rejuvenate taste and smell. But listen, how do you lose a few pounds? That's simple, okay? And this is a mistake I see a lot of people make. So post-holiday, they're whining and dining and having a lot of food, and even in our climate right now with what's going on, they're having friends and family get together. Point being here is this: calories typically go up, probably movement and exercise go down, sleep goes down, and it's easy to put on that 3, 5, 7 pounds or something in the last 2 weeks or a month with the holidays. So how do we approach this? Well, obviously dial in the diet. Of course, the right diet's going to be more of a whole food, plant-based diet. Low glycemic, okay? You hear me always preach because about gut health is so much of everything. You want that good gut flora, good gut, robust health in your gut. So make sure you're eating whole foods, plants, etc. Take probiotics in that, but you gotta poop. So first part of detox is what goes in the toilet. It sounds so simple as this, but get on something the first 2-3 days before you do a cleanse, before you do a detox, okay, that helps your bowels move, okay, so that you're real regular, maybe even a little bit too regular, maybe going a couple, 2-3 times a day. Now, this just helps elimination of toxins, and it helps you increase your glutathione pools, but it also helps you get a better success with a formal detox plan. And every detoxification where you're helping methylation and getting rid of all your holiday wear and tear is going to be, with good bowel elimination and then liver cleansing, okay? So it's got to accompany a diet. But the first thing you can do is this. I like to tell people use aloe juice or aloe gel for 2-3 days. Maybe a teaspoon 2-3 times a day, empty stomach. Don't wash it down for about 10-15 minutes. And yes, it's very coating and good for the digestive lining, but it also stimulates the bowel. Bowels will get a little bit looser and a little bit more regular. You can increase probiotics also, maybe double or triple them for a week or two, and that will always help post-holiday and bad foods and that, and to increase your magnesium. Now, I personally like and tell all my patients, if it works well for them, which I would say 80% of the time it does, is take your magnesium at bedtime. Okay, so take your magnesium, around, an hour or two before you go to bed. Take about 600 to 1,000 milligrams. I personally like to use, and there's different magnesium for different things, but for kind of hitting your biggest receptors and your biggest effects, and including bowel relaxation to help you go more, and taking at night, sleeping a little bit better, getting a little bit better deep sleep and restful sleep, which is so key, is magnesium malate and or glycinate. We use a combination here of malate and glycinate most often, but those are very helpful. But you have to have good bowel elimination before a detox. And yes, here at Longevity, we have detoxes and cleanses that we use with everybody. And typically I have people do these 2-3 times a year, and they'll lose, it's a good kickstart, get them traction, get them going with weight loss and dietary things in the new year. And, they'll lose, sometimes only 2 pounds and sometimes 7. But it definitely is a good reset. The other thing that I want to cover, which is obviously very, very common with what's going on with the vid and the virus that actually, causes very commonly loss of taste and smell. What is loss of taste and smell? Well, that is a neurologic hit to the virus, okay, at the olfactory system of your gray matter of your brain. So it's not in your nasal passageway or in your mouth or in your throat or what have you, or your taste buds. although your taste buds could easily be affected just like their digestive lining, but it's a hit to the brain, so you lose smell and taste, okay? A lot of people, they're lucky with this. It may only hit them for a few days to a week, but I've had others in here, and many a times that it's weeks to months, okay? Two things I like to do to bring this back, and that is, one is actually really three things, but supplementally, one is the amino acid antioxidant called alpha lipoic acid, ALA, and there is a lot of benefits to that. But I've seen some good results and good benefits with this on a neurologic standpoint of rejuvenating essentially the nervous system, okay? And there's evidence on the use of alpha lipoic acid, and that's why I use this with things like peripheral neuropathy and nerve conduction and numbness and tingling, diabetic neuropathy, things like this. And so it is very, very useful in a condition where you're trying to regenerate any nerve or neuron signaling and firing, speaking eventually, or essentially. But the point being here is we got to get those reworking. Now, the other thing is there's such an inflammatory process going on in the brain, and the brain gets this hit, and it probably gets a slight circulatory hit, but also an inflammatory hit. So I really like to use really two things. One is for that is actually omega-3s, whether it's eating a good, high-fat diet, oils and good fats and fish and nuts and coconut oil and olive oil, and having more of this Mediterranean good fats in your diet, or taking a good omega-3, whether that's plant-based omega-3 or a fish oil omega-3. Just make sure it's a good quality one that's mercury tested and a good medical grade source. But that has some good benefits to help regenerate and lower the inflammation, and so you can get your taste and smell back. The other thing is eating things that are potent, if you will, more bitters and flavorful and spices and all that, because it's basically sending signals to the brain to say, hey, wake up. Okay, let's get these taste buds and these odors and these smells and get our olfactory system kicked in. Okay, so use those three things, and I have very good success with that. I even personally had some success with that. But the quicker the better. The ALA, the good fats, the omega-3s, and the right bitters and herbs and spices in your diet. The other thing is, I want to talk a bit about, in our climate, a lot of this anxiety and a lot of this depression and a lot of this, I even call it a little bit of PTSD. And I talked to a therapist today that's one of my patients, and he just finished his day. We did a telemed and talked, and he said, oh, absolutely, he sees this, and we see it here in our office. He sees this day in and day out, especially in the last month or two, of just this. Essentially, it is a PTSD. Whether you had COVID, or people have had COVID, or unfortunately maybe you've lost some, or a loved one or a friend or a family, or there's just that fear, which is ridiculous because fear just controls you. You just need to have it planned, have preemptive, good frontline care. Early intervention is super key, and have a plan and live and be healthy, okay? But don't live in fear. Don't hide. It's ridiculous. And also don't go down the rabbit hole of all this dark, heavy media and control fear kind of tactics that you see out here in the media. The big thing is this, though, is that PTSD is a big thing in the sense of, like, there can be little triggers. And I was talking to this patient of mine who's a counselor, psychologist, and he was sharing with me some things, and I found this very interesting because I've had some conversations with some of our patients about this, and that is, in a traumatic event, you have to make a change if there's a form of PTSD related to that. That is just a change, whether it's something, and of course, obviously more positive. But I've literally heard where people have had reactions, if you will, to the vision of their couch or their bedroom, and feel after COVID, or maybe after they've had a traumatic thing where someone was really sick in the house, or they went through a lot of isolation because of COVID, or what have you, and they literally get this visceral, organic gut reaction and feel a heaviness and an apathy and a depression when they just see, like, the couch that they lay down for a week or two, or they were in their bedroom for a week or two, or they laid in a chair or what have you for a week or two. The point is, you've got to make a change, make it lighter, open up the the windows, get some fresh air, let some light in, and actually make a change in the look of that place, and actually that has real psychological effects so that it doesn't resonate with that negative association to what you are going through. Now, I tell everybody this: turn off the negativity, whether that's your social media, whether that's the news, whether that's whatever. And even if it meets your agenda, even if it's stuff you agree with, you can't live in this environment that's all negative and fearful and quarantining and worry, okay? You have to live, okay? And you have to be safe and make some obviously preventative, protective, immune supporting things, like you obviously hear that we promote and support and talk about day to day and treat tons of people. But the point being is that you can't live in that environment, because that's the perspective of what you're in. And especially if you've been through something heavy with COVID, and I think we all have with these times, you have to change the environment, get yourself out of something, even if it meets your agenda or what you believe and what have you. And I'm not going to get into that, but just you have to change it. You have to change your approach. You have to change the colors of your room, or the light in your room, or decorations, or flowers. Okay, but open your mind to changing something that feels heavy that's around you, because the visual and the association of that can really make a difference in your psychology. And that was actually stuff that we experienced here, but even a psychologist that I talked to tonight, and went over some things, he totally agreed and said that he's seeing the same type of thing. Almost living in your head in the sky or in the sand. Okay, it could serve you a lot better from a health standpoint and a mental health standpoint. So hopefully these are a few good tips and improve your early 2022. Let's be healthy and happy, love each other. Everything gets based down to love and support, okay, of each other. And you have to live, breathe, share, and take care of each other. This is Dr. Lewerenz. Be well.